Good morning and greetings from Northumberland. It's the 23rd of February. It's a lovely, bright red dawn this morning, and it looks like a nice day. Three things I want to talk about today. It would have been two, but the Prime Minister's announcement means that we have three to talk about. The roadmap yesterday set out by the Prime Minister was a cautious one, and I'm very pleased about that. It sets out a period of 4 months with different stages and checks and balances as we go along, which should, if everything works well, bring us to a time in midsummer, around the Petertide, when things can return to as much normality as possible and the restrictions that we face can be lifted. It's a long journey, and I'm pleased they've set out a longish timetable so that we can take each step at a time, assess it, and hopefully move forward step by step to greater freedoms. The Church of England will no doubt be publishing new advice in the coming days, and along with the different churches here, we should be taking advantage of all that advice and coming to an announcement, I would think, in 10 days or so about what our plans are, step by step, following this roadmap. So there will be much more to be said about this, but at the moment we want to move forward in a prudent and cautious way, but in a way that leads us to greater normality by the time we come to the summer. That's enough on that one. Today is the feast of St. Polycarp. You may or may not have heard of St. Polycarp, but he is a very important figure. He was killed, he was martyred for his faith in the year 155. That seems a long time ago, and of course it is. But the important thing about Polycarp is that he was, so the tradition tells us, a disciple, a follower, someone who learnt his faith from St. John. He was martyred, he was a bishop, he was martyred in Smyrna, killed with a sword and his body burnt in front of a baying crowd. He was given the opportunity to renounce his faith, and this is what he said. For 86 years I have been his, Christ's servant, and he has never done me wrong. How can I blaspheme the King who saved me? Polycarp is an important link in our understanding of the way in which faith is passed down from generation to generation. We're looking at this in our Lent groups at the moment, in our Cross on the Coast Zoom services, the way in which the inheritance of the Celtic, Anglo-Saxon, Irish saints has affected our own district. But it's an important message. For 86 years I have been his servant. He has never done me any wrong. How can I blaspheme the King who saved me? So we honour Polycarp, and we pray that we may, like him, be close to Jesus. Which leads me to my third point, and we find that third point in our Gospel reading for today. Because our Gospel reading for today, from St. Matthew chapter 6, is the Lord's Prayer. Don't be like the Gentiles who pray with empty phrases, but pray, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, and so on. Here is set a pattern of simple prayer. And here is set the fact that the Lord's Prayer should be part of all our Christian prayer. Day by day, during this pandemic, I certainly have been nourished by the fact that I've paused, stopped here in this room most often and prayed a simple morning and a simple night prayer. It's been tremendously important to me, and I know because people have been kind enough to share their views, it's been tremendously important to others who have joined me. But this is something that is not just for a pandemic and for a time of crisis. It's something that day by day needs to nourish and fulfill us. Polycarp's witness of 86 years' service to God was based upon prayer, based upon being close to Jesus. And so today, we join with all the saints who worship Jesus. We join with all our brothers and sisters throughout the world who turn to God in times like this. But above all, we join with all the others who turn to God day by day in prayer and are renewed and nourished by that relationship. May God bless us all.